Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Human Relations Commission meeting for Monday, August the 5th, 2019. We will ask Ashley if she will go ahead and do our roll call as we call the meeting to order.
Chair Young.
Present.
Creighton Comer. Bresner. Willie Comer. Taha.
Present.
McLean. Alexander Ward.
Present.
Turner.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to item 3, approval of meeting minutes from the July 1st, 2019 regular meeting. I would assume that everyone had a chance to view those minutes. Do we have any corrections? Okay. This time I will ask someone to move for approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second? Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The minutes stand approved. We will move on to item number 4, our staff reports that will be given by Rachel Joy, Community Relations Manager, Compliance Officer.
Okay. We don't have any new open discrimination cases since the last report. There are 2 new police complaints open since the last report. The hiring report for the month of July, 2 white males and 1 black female, and this does include promotions.
Thank you. Okay. We are now on item 5, correspondence and announcements. At this time, we will move to our introduction of our new commissioner, and that is Dr. Ahmed Taha. We would like to introduce him and to welcome him to the Human Relations Commission for the City of Champaign as we continue in this important work for the city. We just want to tell you welcome. And we would like to see if there's anything that you'd like to say and tell us about yourself as far as introducing yourself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to
You're
serve. I work in the university as a technical program manager in the Supercomputer Center for the last 14 years. And I have a PhD in mechanical engineering. And I have been in the community here for 14 years. And I'm running a non-for-profit in Urbana, which is called the Muslim American Society, MES. And I have 4 children. I'm married, I have 4 children from the 27 up to 19. Is it enough?
Whatever you want to share.
I am looking forward actually to serve with all of you. I came with I'm Egyptian by birth. I have been in the States for 23 years since I came for my PhD. And I settled and raised all my children, the 4 of them here. So I came with a kind of background to add to the commission, and as well I have a local contribution in the area of the community service and the social justice and the outreach, in addition to my professional career in the area of the engineering and supercomputing. So I'm looking forward to serve in the commission.
And
Thank
what particular population are you working with?
Population, I manage the non-for-profit, so myself, I'm working in the area of the professionals, but at the same time overseeing the different committees in the non-profit, which is working with all populations, from the toddlers, it's not myself, but a team who's working with them, till all the youth with the different ages, and high schoolers, the college students, and the adults. So this is for the age. For the population, my own community, which is the Muslim community, the local Muslim community in the city, in addition to our collaboration with the different communities, whether it's faith-based or activism-based community. So for the last 14 years since I came to Champaign from Chicago, we have a variety of activities that includes different backgrounds in the community, whether in the activism area with the Black American community and with the first followers, for example, you know them for the serving in the re-entry programs. We have an annual program with them every Friday in commemoration with the Black American Heritage Month. With the with the different with the University Y. University Y, for example, is one of our collaborators now. I'm serving as one of the executive board, the members of the New American Welcome Center, which is in the University Y. Since the beginning of the New American Welcome Center, MASS, my organization, and myself in person are one of the executive board on it. And I'm part of the Civic Engagement and Citizenship working group of the New American Welcome Center. This is in addition to the other collaborations with the churches and synagogues and in the area of increasing the awareness of the community and of the different denominations and whether it's different faith groups or the or the different sects in the community. I came from an immigrant background, so I was not born in the States, so I have a connection as well with the different immigrant groups, which I do value a lot, actually. And we have service projects with which I'm running with the underserved areas. Back to school donation and giving away and to the underserved communities. So it's my pleasure to serve in a variety and overseeing the operation, the service or projects in the variety of groups in the community, from the very professional to the underserved, all classes, different ages, different background, and so I wish that I will be able to work with you and with the mayor to add to the diversity of the commission. And as well, I have some ideas which I shared with Ms. Young for how can we promote our market for the work of the commission in the city instead of waiting for people to complain, but to reach out to people to introduce the commission to them so they will know there is a body that they can talk to, they can complain to. Because before I was invited to join, it might be because of my negligence. It could be I was not aware of a commission who can stand in support, who can investigate cases of discrimination. Because it might be because of me, but there might be people like me, many people like me in the city who are not aware. So I have some ideas that I shared and I can share with you for how can we promote. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So we will move on to more correspondence and announcements. CU Days for the Champaign Park District will be this weekend, August 9th and the 10th. August 9th, Friday, it starts at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, the 10th, it begins at 11 a.m. And this all takes place at Douglas Park, 512 East Grove Street in Champaign. And I believe the city will have a table there. Okay, so the city will have a table there. Then there is Welcome Week, which takes place the week of September the 13th, and that's at 4 p.m. at the Orpheum Children's Science Museum, 346 North Neal Street in Champaign, outside in their parking lot. Welcome Week Awards will be September the 21st at 3 p.m. at the Urbana Free Library at 210 West Green Street in Urbana. Pride Fest, September the 28th at 1 p.m. downtown Champaign. HRC Retreat, October the 5th, and the location and the time is to be determined. The Expungement Summit for the county will be on October the 5th at 8:30 a.m. Stone Creek Church, 2502 South Ray Street in Urbana. Then there's the longest table discussion, and that's hosted by Neighborhood Services of the City of Champaign, and that will take place on August the 12th, 6 p.m. East Main Street. And then our September 2nd, the HRC meeting is canceled. So we've got quite a bit going on in the city. Hopefully you got all of that. If not, you can always refer to the website. Okay, and we are going to move on to item number 6, our LGBTQ liaison. We have a new liaison for the City of Champaign, and that is Mr. Chris Kester. At this time, we're going to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson Young.
You're welcome.
She said my name is Chris Kester. I am currently employed at the City of Champaign, where I have been since August of 2012. And in my current role, I'm the Administrative Services Manager and Public Information Officer for Public Works. And so I say that because if you think you may have seen me before, it's quite possible. News channels like to have me talk about what we put out in print quite a bit. I just wanted to, Rachel said I could take a couple minutes and just say a few things. So while this role is called the LGBTQ liaison to the city executive, and its means is meant to connect a specific group within our community into providing a voice and helping to make a connection with city leadership. I also hope that my personal commitment to equality, social justice, and human rights will serve the city organization as well as this commission in its work to enhance the lives of our entire community. From an early age, I was raised to believe that all people were created equal, mostly through my religious upbringing. As I became older and learned that because of who I was by birth, a white man, I had a privilege to say that phrase, created equally, much more than other people not like me. I even witnessed some people who taught me that phrase not display that always in their actions. And for me, that wasn't good enough. As I came to understand that institutions and communities, including my own religious institution, continued to marginalize others based on differences, I knew that doing nothing was no longer an option for me. So I decided to pursue social work. By its values, social work promotes social justice and social change with and on behalf of clients in the form of individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. I'm not naive to think that by just receiving my Master of Social Work degree immediately absolved me of all my predisposed privilege. But in becoming a social worker, I was able to better define my set of beliefs and what I can do to be a better advocate for others. So if you will allow me a moment, I would like to come out to you and share with you my beliefs. I believe that white silence equals white consent. I believe that Black lives matter. I believe that no human is illegal. I believe that healthcare is a right. I believe that a person with a disability is not unabled, rather differently abled. I believe that women's rights are human rights. I believe that science is real. I believe that love is love. I believe in celebrating diversity, and I believe that kindness is everything, and that faith is the evidence of things not seen. I do not share these beliefs lightly, nor am I saying that I'm some sort of superhuman to tackle each area of inequality on my own. For one, I don't fully understand the special issues in the LGBTQ community, which I'm now asking to be a liaison of to solve problems. But as the saying goes, while these things may not be my fault, now that I know that they are problems, they are my problem to try to solve. I share these beliefs with the humility of fully understanding that those with the greatest power and privilege have used a multitude of ways to oppress those who are already marginalized. I hope that when I am called upon, that my service, through my words, my abilities, and my actions will help to empower and/or defend those who need it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I feel like I need to ask, did anybody have any questions? Is there anything that was not clear about? Okay, all right. Sure.
Bless you, Chris. You sound like a wonderful, wonderful soul. And I'm sure that the city of Champaign is overwhelmed to have you, as we are to have heard you today.
All right. We do not have a speaker this evening. And so therefore, we will move on to, and I don't think we have any committee reports. I know we're still working on the video. The video that was supposed to come out a minute ago, but that's okay. We're still working on it. And so we're waiting on a few things, but we're still working on it. So it is still coming. I don't think we had any other committee reports, though. No. Okay. Well, the next thing is our election of officers. So, do we just have someone read should we have Mr. Alexander Ward, since he was part of the committee, he should read, I feel like he should read the slate.
Read this. I don't have it in front of me. So it's just this and this. Okay. So the slate of officers for chair would be Chair Young, and then for vice chair would be McLean.
So I'm hearing the slate of officers. Do we have anyone to make a motion to accept the nomination for chair and vice chair?
I move it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been motioned and second that we receive Alicia Young as the chair and Robin McLean as vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? The ayes have it. Congratulations, vice chair. All right. Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? Yes, no? Okay. Audience participation. Do we have anyone in the audience that wishes to address the Human Relations Commission at this time?
Good evening. Hello again.
Good evening.
Welcome, Dr. Taha. This is my fourth Human Relations Commission meeting. As I said, I will be back every month. I'm again here to talk about the citizen complaint process. I would want to let you know that I wasn't able to go to the July 24th Civilian Police Review Board meeting in Urbana, but I did watch it on video, and I would suggest that you all watch it because one of the commission members asked an interesting question near the end, and her question was, does Champaign have a review board now? And Preston James, who is the community relations specialist, had this answer. They do. It's a little different than yours. It's closed, not open to the public like we are. So let me repeat that. It's closed, not open to the public like we are. I have been struggling with the citizens complaint process for probably a year and a half. And most of you know that my complaint was 1804. It took 9.5 months for resolution, and I was not happy with the resolution. But when I came here and spoke in May, I had hoped that the process would be changing. While I understand that the wheels of justice grind slowly, I submitted 2 more complaints against 2 police officers after that. And in my opinion, nothing has really changed. The more things change, the more nothing happens. My first complaint I filed on June 4th of this year, and I used the email system. I filed it correctly, timely, and what I got back from Chief Cobb in an email was, I'll quote one sentence that I think is relevant. The issue you are referencing has been reviewed by me and the city manager. So I took from that it's a dead on the vine, which seems interesting to me that the chief of police and the city manager get to intervene in the system and decide that my complaint is not going to even be given a number, is not going to be reviewed. Maybe it's going to be reviewed in that coffee clutch that they had together, apparently, but I didn't find out anything about it. So I went back and looked at some documents. So I'm fairly intelligent, and I'm a dogged researcher, and I save everything, all documents, all paperwork. So here's what I received from Rachel Joy about a year ago when I was trying to get resolution on complaint 1804. This is what she wrote to me in an email. As I stated yesterday, for an official police complaint, the process is Lieutenant of Professional Standards from Champaign Police Department investigates, our office reviews, and the Citizen Review Subcommittee reviews. After that process, the complaint goes to the Chief of Police for a final decision, and after that, if a person wants to appeal a decision, it goes to the city manager. So I've read that a number of times, and nowhere in there do I hear the Chief of Police and the city manager get together and decide that they're not give that complaint a number and it won't go through proper channels. So that was the first complaint I filed. I filed another one against a completely different police officer, and it went to Bruce Ramsayer, and I communicated with him. He interviewed me on the phone, and then I said, based on the city's own criteria for investigating police complaints, it should be wrapped up in about 45 days, give or take. I marked that date on my calendar and said, I will expect to hear from you on that date. On that date, he sent me an email that said as follows: I wanted to let you know that your complaint investigation will be past due. I apologize for that. I hope to have it over to the city building so that it can set a time for the Citizen Review Board to meet and examine the report. Once they have it, I will try to let you know. So tomorrow will be 6 weeks from that email. And I've heard not a peep from anybody, not the city manager, not the police department. So once again, I feel like I'm managing my own complaint, and it's not following the process. And I understand that there might be some flux right now in the process. But Bruce Ramsayer, who's the Lieutenant for Professional Standards, can't send me a 2-line email saying, we're in flux, I'm going to be in contact with you every week, I take this very seriously. Instead, I get to know that he's going on vacation and that he won't be back until July 8th. So I thought surely he'll be back by July 8th and I'll hear something from him. But I didn't. So what does this all mean? This means your model of investigating citizens' complaints against sworn police officers does not work. I am Exhibit A, speaking only from my own experiences. 3 complaints, 1 ignored, stuffed, stonewalled. When it was finally investigated, I wasn't interviewed. And of course, a foregone conclusion when the police investigate themselves, the officer was exonerated. What a surprise. Then I had to appeal it to the city manager, and it took her, as you know, 3 months to put me on her calendar, and then another 2 weeks to render her verdict. How is that good customer service? How does that put me on parity with the police officer? What about citizens' rights? I was listening to what Mr. Kester was saying. What about citizens' rights? What about the police department wanting to exhibit what I keep reading about on their website, integrity, transparency, collaborative efforts with citizens, trust. I'm not experiencing any of those things. I can't even get an email back. So I'm here to call out the police department, the way the process works, and ask you, please get a new model. Danville has a second model from what you've got. Urbana has a different model. I talked today at length with Preston James over at Urbana and learned about the model that they have and had a very productive conversation with him. That is something that no one from the city has ever asked to have with me. I'm available if anyone wants to know my experiences and what I would recommend for changes. I can't get a simple complaint investigated. So again, obviously, middle-aged white woman, all of these police officers were white, middle-aged guys. What do you think it would be like for me to be marginalized, homeless, poor, black, any combination of those? No one welcomes complaints about the police department. Nobody does. I think that's false thinking, and it's just a plain fallacy. So I'd be happy if someone came to me and said, hey, I think this police officer didn't act right, there might be some misconduct. I'd say, it's going to be a tough road to hoe, but I can tell you, I'll go with you if you want to fill it out, et cetera, because it's not welcoming. It's not easy. It's not, it doesn't work. It's broken. And for people to not think that after all I went through, that they could respond with an email after I went through 9.5 months of hell is beyond the pale. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to come back here every month until the system is fixed, and I'm going to call out the people who are sending me this baloney in writing. And I hope for better. And I know you guys are up to the task, so I believe in you, and I'm going to be here every month. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience care to address the Human Relations Commission?
I'm Kenton Elmore, and I live in Champaign. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Ashley, Rachel. By now, you all know that I no longer serve alongside you. I've been somewhat vocal in the last month about about that. Really more kind of how I was informed about that. Ultimately, I'm not here to talk about that anymore, though. I'm really here just to say thank you for allowing me to serve alongside you. Dr. Taha, welcome to the commission. I think I have no doubt in my mind that your contribution to the commission is going to be a very strong one. I see no correlation between your appointment and my subsequent removal. I only wish I could be serving alongside you, but if there's been any inconvenience that's been caused to any of you based on what's been said in the last month or so, I apologize for that. It definitely wasn't my intention to make it into anything like that. Ultimately, I do believe in change, so I'm glad to see that there is some change happening, and I will continue to support each one of you individually and as a whole, and you'll see me around, and I hope to see you around. So, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will move on to commissioners' comments, and we will start on this end with our new vice chair. If you have any comments from the commissioners.
I do have a comment in regards to the complaint process. And, I know at the last meeting, we went around the table and made some suggestions about what we thought should change, and we all felt that there was a definite need for change with that process. And I would just like to reiterate again that, and I'm looking at some of the notes from the last meeting, that we talked about an open process, transparency, for the complainant to have the opportunity to be interviewed, to be heard, about the opportunity for the complainant to be able to attend the hearing when that subcommittee meets to discuss their particular complaint. We talked about the police department developing some trust for the community and that it was much needed, that we need to make some change with that complaint process. And so with continuing to hear that things are not working, I know that it was just last month that we made some suggestions, and I'm not sure, and Rachel, maybe you can answer this, if that subcommittee has met since our last meeting?
They would have met in July. That's when they actually accepted the recommendations to be moved on to the chief of police. So there's still that entire process
Okay.
that would occur. So he has those recommendations. At that meeting, they talked about doing a special meeting. That's what he suggested, where he'd be able to come and speak to that group directly to make any clarification about those recommendations. And so once that comes, then I will send out that information.
Okay, then that's what's happening, and I'm glad to hear that. And so after they do meet, will we be informed about what was discussed?
And that will be an open meeting, so you all would
Then we
be able
could
to
come.
come to that. You get all of the information about those meetings.
Okay, then that's good. So, and then the other comment I want to make is, I'm glad to see you, Kenton, because, you know, we were not aware of anything, and this, you know, you just kind of feel like there's a hole when a person, you become family, and then there's like a hole in you. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to fill that. So seeing you is great. Thanks for coming and saying hello and goodbye to us. And you're a wonderful, wonderful man, and I wish you the absolute best. And I hope that we do keep in contact.
Commissioner Alexander Ward,
I have no comments at this time.
Commissioner Bressner.
I have no comments. I just would say to Kenton, we'll miss you. And thanks for coming this evening.
Commissioner Comer.
I just say to the former commissioner, it's been an honor to serve with you, and I hope in your career and your throughout your life you make a difference, and you do make a difference. Thanks.
Commissioner Taha.
I would like to thank as well Mr. Elmore. I really appreciate your presence here and the words that you gave. And myself, I will reach out to you to get benefit from you, if you don't mind. That I would love to actually to benefit from your experience and as well to work together. Thank you so much.
And so I would just like to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight, especially to our friend and former commissioner. Again, as I'd like to echo what Robin said, and I was able to sit down and share my feelings with our new commissioner. A lot of times things are not portrayed the way that you intended them to be. But with that said, I just want you to know that we appreciate the work that you've done for the city with the commission and all that, and we look forward to seeing great things from you in the future. And the commission will be here. So if you have any input, as any other citizen would, we would be happy to hear that. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're continuing to come as well. And as she stated, I'm glad that we were able to let the public know that we are trying to move forward with some of those recommendations. But as you said, it does take time. But we hear you, and we want to continue to hear you, and anyone else in the public. So please come. We always ask for people to come, and so I think this is probably the most that we've had here in a while as well. And to you, Mr. Kester, thank you very much, and we look forward to an awesome working relationship with you, and I think that it will be a great asset to the community, from one social worker to another. With that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion. It has to do with the content. Okay, one question, sure.
I forgot to ask this when I was up here. I believe at the last meeting, it was stated by Ms. Joy that this meeting would be scheduled for August, when the police chief would be talking, and it would be an open meeting. So I got here a little late. Did you set a date for that meeting? Because I see you set a date for October 5th for your retreat. I think it's about time for you to set the date for that meeting that Ms. Joy said at the last meeting would be set for August, because we're already into August 5th, and I'd like to put that on my calendar.
And what I stated in that meeting was in the Citizens Review Subcommittee meeting. And so we're waiting to hear back from CPD before that could be scheduled, because the police have to be there in order for that meeting to occur. And as I stated earlier, when that is, I'll send out information.
Okay. Thank you for clarity. Okay. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I would move that we adjourn.
It's been a motion. May I have a second?
Second?
It's been motion and second that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.